Hey guys, Deathslander Magic here, and it's time for the, I almost said annual, but it's way more often than that, pre-release post-game report. It's actually pretty much quarterly. And by the way, I usually say this at the end, but while you're listening, might as well start typing. Feel free to share down in the comment section how your pre-release went. Was it the same as what I said in this video? Was it different? Did anything interesting happen? Did a bear suddenly burst through the front doors of your store and start eating people's decks? That would be awesome. Like seriously, if you guys read the comment section on some of these videos, assuming the people aren't lying and they wouldn't really have a good reason to, there have been like car accidents, fist fights, fire alarms going off. Like crazy crap. Like if like 10,000 people watched this video, probably one or two of them had some crazy crap go down, just mathematically. So if you want something even more entertaining than my account, scroll down. Anyway, I knew this would be different, I just wasn't sure how, because the big thing about M19 was, first of all, I don't know if I even went to the M14 pre-release. I feel like I didn't. I think the first one I went to was either Theros or Journey into Nyx. But, just from knowing how card pools work and how math works, probability deck building, how the core set was put together, what types of cards and mechanics were there, no central mechanic, I thought, well, it should be easier to build a deck, right? But very unpredictable because there's 280 cards. A lot of the bomb mythics are 3 colors, so then you got a problem. I mean, you could play it, you could make it happen, and people did, but, what is the probability that those 3 colors will be playable? And you should never build your whole deck around one card. Well, it didn't go quite as well as I thought because I thought everybody will just have like this non-super synergy blowout deck because people who got Pirates or Merfolk to work in the past, they would just dominate. They would absolutely smoke everybody. And with Dominaria, if you pulled some mega just ultra bomb card, which there was a ton of them, you would just dominate. So thank God it wasn't tribal synergy because I just hate that. That just comes down to who had the better pool, they win. I mean, there's almost no thought to it. It's like whatever. Now, that said, I think the worst I've ever done was 1 win, 3 losses at a pre-release, and a lot of the ones I go to have 5 rounds. Well, his last one didn't because, first of all, it had the worst turnout I've ever seen, but back to, the cards and how I thought it would go versus how it did. Yeah, a lot of kind of boring low-powered decks, just not a lot of anything. A lot of vanilla creatures, a lot of just, basic evergreen stuff, but you can have fun with that. I mean, you can make it a little bit more basic. You don't need this crazy dynamic stuff, because honestly, that's for constructed anyway, pretty much. I mean, if you can get something to work with something else, great, but you didn't really, purposely build the deck, you know what I mean? So if you've got this great thing that, Panharmonicon, it's a wonderful, super powerful card, but what if it only works with 2 other cards in your deck? It's just so hard to get really high-powered interactive stuff to work unless it's very wide open. And of course, I've already stated how I feel about hyper-consistent tribals. Like, if you don't pull enough dinosaurs, merfolk, pirates, or vampires to build that deck, and your opponent did, like they have 20 vampires in their deck, which is very possible for Ixalan and Rix, you didn't stand a chance. The synergy and the boost and the passive boost and the triggers, I mean, you would just lose. There's nothing you could do. So I didn't find those particularly fun, and I thought, well, this one would be fun because it's just so stupid. It's so stupidly low-powered, and everything is going to be just, comically underpowered. It'll come down to, well, still kind of luck, but more in the context of a mulligan decision. Like, did you pull the right cards, or are you just stuck with vanilla crap? Is it off color? The typical stuff, instead of just, oh, I gotta get out my 5/5 hyper-powerful Vigilance Trample Lifelink Angel. It's not like people didn't pull Planeswalkers either, but, this one, it didn't go as well as I thought. It was, I would say, 75% of the people there had just terrible decks. Just really, really bad. I'd say maybe 5 cards that anybody would consider good in each of them. And the rest were just kind of neat, whatever, okay, on-curve support. But some people had, nothing but creatures with abilities, triggers, that kind of stuff. But quite a few people, first of all, had to run 3 color. They just had to. The decks were too boring, too slow, too blah. They had to pull the best of from 3 color. And the problem with that is, because it's not, yeah, go for it. I mean, that's what you do if your pool sucks and you got a bunch of blah cards, like M19 has. The problem with that is getting color screwed, and there was just so minimal fixing. Nobody was pulling those dual lands. I mean, you had Manalith, but in my opinion, there should have almost been 2 more Manalith clones or some kind of filter, or I don't know. I think Gift of Paradise was in there, but that's only green, technically, sort of. I even had people playing 4-color. They would just play 4-color bombs, and they had nothing below 3. Like, literally not one card below 3 mana, and they just would assume that nobody's going to run them over that quickly. And it makes sense. Nobody had Goblin Tribal. Nobody had Mono Red Rush. So the funny thing is, if you got your colors, you could go to town. The problem is running 4-color. You didn't get your colors. And plus, if you get land screwed, you have nothing. You will literally lose with nothing on the field. So it's a ballsy strategy, but 4th round, the dude beat me pretty proficiently with a deck like that. So, good for him for going for it, because from what I heard, his pool was just as terrible as mine was. So for me personally, my black pool was just amazing. It was really good. I mean, it wasn't astonishing. It was just good. I had the 5/4 flying mythic that can resurrect itself. That was cool. And then a ton of stuff that kept coming back from the graveyard over and over and over. So I thought, okay, jump block, jump block, jump block. Cool. Unfortunately, all the other colors were completely unplayable for various different reasons. So I probably should have gone 3-color. It's just past black plus, oh my god, whatever, just pick one. The 3rd color was so far into unplayable. I mean, in my white pool, I had 1 creature with attack power above 1. Disqualified the whole color. And I had some amazing rares in it. It was a shame, complete waste. My colorless was on point, had some good equipment, that was cool. But I just went red for removal, but just disastrous, absolutely disastrous first round, because a ton of my black cards were double black in cost, and a ton of my red cards, if not like half of them, were double red. And I couldn't cast it. Even with like 5 lands on the field, I couldn't cast, 2 black spells. So I kept getting color screwed. It was too slow, still too much vanilla crap. It's just, like a 4/3 haster or whatever. So what? I mean, it's just nothing special. None of the cards were good enough. I just picked red because it was the most, dynamic curve 1 to 5 and the most removal. And then I dumped it. I dumped the entire color and put green in. It was just all in, get to 5. So I put in like 20 lands and just said, I need to get to 5. Worked. I won round 2 and round 3. So I guess that was a good decision. I'm not sure if the deck really was that much better, but I basically turned it into an all-in, I call it just like superhero deck. You just take 1 creature that's on the field or 2 or whatever and just aura, boost, ambush, instant, equipment. It was a lot of auras. You just strap it up with equipment and go. I mean, it's basically Iron Man. And yeah, I just ran people over with it. But removal just, oh my god, like it's not a good deck archetype. Let me just throw that out there. Removal will destroy you. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of removal, but people playing like blue-white, yeah, they could squeak by. But the one, I mean, I had some fun cards in there. I had the wand where you get to go through their deck 1 card at a time until you hit the very first instant or sorcery and then cast it for free. And I literally stole every single one that this guy had and then looped his whole deck. And most of them were removal, but I kept hitting like irrelevant stuff. It was so funny. So we had fun. I ended up going 2 and 2, but yeah, we really had fun at it. Here's the thing though, I mentioned this earlier. Lowest turnout I've ever seen for a pre-release ever. And I've been to like individually, like multiple, like we hold it on Saturday 2 events. I've probably been to like 30 or 40. Well, okay, probably like 30. And this is the lowest turnout I've ever seen. So I mean, that's a sample size of 1, just my store. And, people took like a 5-day weekend and stuff for the 4th. I don't know. Maybe people were traveling. I don't know. Well, the other thing is, hello, Pokemon Go weekend, biggest weekend since the game launched. I just did 19 Articuno raids, and I got 4 hours of sleep last night, so some people were probably just like, you know what? And by the way, tomorrow is Squirtle Community Day. Oh, and I did get a shiny Articuno. Oh, the best part about the Articuno event today, so many cute dogs. I was like, forget Articuno, I just want to pet all these damn dogs. They're so cute. So a lot of factors went into it, I think. But remember, GP Vegas and honestly the last like 10 GPs from what I heard, they had huge attendance drops compared to, year after year numbers. Word is the player base is going down, player count's going down. I'm sure it has to do with Wizards of the Coast and their stupid politics and not being able to rein in their idiot staff on Twitter, just spouting off a bunch of hateful, sexist, racist nonsense. I mean, that would get somebody fired from any place that isn't run by lefty nut jobs. Anyone else find it kind of ironic that they keep shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over needlessly when usually like hyper-liberal left nut jobs are super anti-gun? It's driving people away. People are just like, I don't want to have anything to do with this company. And then, the card quality and just the way they treat their customers, and they don't listen to anybody outside of their little Reddit echo chamber. They ban people from Reddit for saying anything, ban them from Twitch, call them out in person during a live stream and insult them. It's a joke. Their whole company is a joke. Their whole public image is garbage. They need to cut the shit right now. I mean, Hasbro just needs to come in and just basically fire almost everybody, or just tell them, don't do this or you're fired. Just stop. Like, Hasbro CEO just walks in with a giant clock and says, it's time to stop. And then frisbees the clock right into Mark Rosewater's face. That'll happen. But, even going back to cons, the sets were designed like crap. The standard meta was garbage. I mean, anybody could stop playing for any reason. Cons was too expensive. I mean, you go back the last 2 or 3 years, people could have entire lists of reasons that they could have quit. I mean, they're driving away people for more than just one scandal or one reason or one image problem or one quality problem or one standard meta problem or anything. So, I mean, was attendance up? Was it down? And don't just say, oh, I'm not going to say it was up because I don't want to contradict Desolator. That's, what is that, confirmation bias or something like that? Did you see more people? Did you see less people? Post it either way. What was your attendance like? And way more importantly, if people didn't show up, but they're like friends of yours or something, you can hit them up on social media, like ask them why, or did you already ask them why? What was the reason? Traveling, busy, money, whatever, or just no interest or whatever. Now, the other thing was, maybe it's not just, oh, look, the customer base shrunk, so everybody's got 50% attendance. Maybe people are like, yeah, core set pre-release, pretty much the worst thing ever. Because, I mean, everybody's pool was a joke. I mean, it was just like low-powered vanilla creatures, crap, non-dynamic, blah, and it was just so bad. It was just a really bad set to try to build with. It was really, really bad. And that's the thing. It's meant to supplement the other sets and standards. So without them, it really can't stand on its own that well, but I'm not saying it's bad product. It does what it does. It's designed to be friendly and not have overcomplicated stuff, not have new mechanics, not have just overbearing tribals. Really nothing in the deck is supposed to stand on its own, but then they also have to make it draftable and sealable. But after, one pre-release weekend and one couple of sealed events or whatever, the whole rest of the year and a half that it's legal is standard constructed. So I get it. I'm not saying they should have made it better just for pre-release. It's just maybe that had something to do with attendance. Because, by the way, from what I'm hearing, initial stuff on social media, attendance was down the toilet. So the decks were crap. I personally went 2-2, and nobody showed up. It was terrible. It was a disaster, right? Hell no. We all had a riot. Oh my God. We were just joking around the whole time and just making stupid, nerdy, geeky jokes and references to like old geeky stuff. And like everybody who goes to my LGS is so cool. Now here's the other thing. This is the strange thing. We had a ton of new people. Like people where it was their first pre-release. They kind of played casually, been in and out, played a different store, came to this one. Okay, I'm just going to say it. They came from the shitty store, from the LGS from hell, and they came to this one because they heard it was better. I lost count. I'd say maybe 14, 15 people have said that in the last year. All the really, really rude players who bring overpowered decks and then cheat if they lose, or if they start losing, I should say. Obviously, the point is to win. They drive people away. And so they just ask their friends, is there a different place to play? And then, boom. And some of them drive for like 30 minutes because, I mean, there's not that many in my area. So I don't know what to make of, oh, less people showed up, but we had a whole bunch of new people. Is the game growing or is it dying? Or is it both? Are we cycling out people and cycling in people? Are the net deckers finally, storming off because, oh, you keep banning my deck? And I use that term really loosely. Funny they call it my deck when they didn't build it. And they're just like, fine, I'm going to go play another game. Wah. Or if people switched entirely to Arena, I don't know. What's your theory? I mean, what have you heard? What have your friends said? Who showed up? Who didn't? Have you been seeing new people at F&M? Are they driven away by toxic, control archetypes in Rush? Just what's going on? What's going on in your local community? And especially with pre-release. And how many Articunos did you catch? And also, how was your deck? Was it, weaker, stronger than other stuff? I mean, one guy, damn. That's all I could say. And it's always like one player. There's always that one person, or 2 or 3 if you're about as lucky as my store. 2 Rogue's Gloves, okay? Like 12 removal spells, and the rest were flyers, and it was a 2-color deck. Like, that's insane. And of course, that was my first round. I think he ended up taking second or something. And that always is what it is. Like, you get enough people, somebody's going to have, the divine pool sent down from heaven to be perfectly synergistic and exactly what you need to win pre-release. But that's why everybody there's just, messing around. We're not there to be highly competitive and win. It's not a frickin' PPTQ. I mean, even if you go 0-4, you're like, yeah, but these people are cool, and, I had a fun time and joking around and, eating junk food and all that. And then, running out at like 3 a.m. to catch Pokemon and mess with the staff at the donut shop. That's, like, super not at all what I did. Oh my gosh, at the midnight release for either Skyrim or StarCraft 2, I don't remember which, probably Skyrim, about half the people at that event got kicked out of the store next door. I mean, us geeky types, we can get a little rowdy. I mean, if your pre-release doesn't have impromptu foot races, arm wrestling, pseudo gambling and pack wars, the World Series of Dice starting up, I mean, like, you're not doing it right. Y'all boring then. We crazy at my store. So it's like, I had fun no matter what. Like, it could be a good set, a bad set, a good one for pre-release, a bad one for pre-release. I could get blown away by somebody's overpowered deck and I'll be pissed about it for like 5 minutes and then get over it because it's just fun. So if you're like, oh, but I might not be good. Oh, why should I go if I don't think I could win? Because who cares? It's fun. Unless everybody there's a dick. Actually, pre-release at my old LGS, the one from hell, sucked. I hated everybody there. It was terrible. So I guess, okay, not a blanket statement for everybody. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'd give it maybe a 5 out of 10 because like it was, the people made it fun. The set didn't help at all. I'd give the set almost like a 0 out of 10 for pre-release because some people open some like bomb ass cards that could not be beaten. It happens. They're in the set. Nobody opened the Angel. Couple got some Planeswalkers, but you know what I mean. There's a couple in there that are just bonkers. But like nobody had any synergy. Everybody was pissed off at their pool. It was pretty bad, but it was pretty good. Like as an event, it was good, but the set and the cards miserable. But to reiterate, not M19's fault. It was not designed for pre-release, and it shouldn't be. It also should never have been brought back, but that's a different story. So leave your accounts down below, and I will see you guys next video.